On YOU ORNS post-match. Final score is a Watford 1, Oxford United 0, and Watford continue their unbeaten start to the season at the Vic. With the win tonight, it was a very nail-biting finish for the Orns, but they got the job done. They got over the line. Welcome aboard here on X and live on YouTube. Great to have you aboard. If you have any comments on X, please lift up that phone, hit that microphone, hit that request button, and we'll have your thoughts here as a fellow Watford supporter. And of course, if you don't want to do that, you can make a comment and I'll read your comments out. Also here on YouTube, a pleasure to have you aboard. Make your comments, please, after Watford 1, Oxford 0, a game in which Watford were not very good first half. They were invisible in the game, didn't make very much opportunities happen despite all the possession that they had, but they did come alive in the second half. And Watford, I think, just about got it over the line. Daniel Batman had to be very alert late in that second half. He was well off his line, made a great save. And Oxford really will come away from this one thinking how they didn't score at least once. They had a point-blank range shot in the first half that was missed. They had a shot in the second half there late, tried to get the overhead kick in, and he missed it and skied it over the bar from about 3 yards off the line, off the goal line. How the Oxford did not score a goal will be beyond me in this one. But you know what? This is the Championship. This is not the Serie A. It's not La Liga, and it's not the Premier League. It is the Championship, and it's all meat and potato stuff from your Golden Boys tonight as they get off, and get in with the goal from guess who? The man, the crow, the Kun Bio, with the goal in the 54th minute that gave us all 3 points. You know, Bio could have had another hat trick in this one. You know, this is the man who shot the ball, hit. I think the goalkeeper made a great parry off of it, and then he smashed the ball again. I think it took a knock off of someone before it went into the back of the net in front of the rookery. But we'll take them any way we can get them, and so will this man, Vakun Bio, who now leads all scorers of your Golden Boys with 6 goals, all of them in the Championship, and that's 2 more than he scored all of last season in the Championship. So Vakun Bio becoming the target man now and in a groove as your Golden Boys win again at home. We are now in 4th place on 25 points. That is a very good read for this Friday night under the lights at the Vic. And I want to read out your comments as well on YouTube. And thank you, Brown Electrons, from getting on board and in touch with us. Brown says, just squeeze that win. Oxford just have got something at the end. Yeah, you know, Oxford came real close. A team that was in the mid-table area, I think bottom 8 or so, wherever they were. I think they were 14th at the time tonight, so not really bottom of anything. They're kind of mid-table Oxford, the League One promoted Oxford, and they gave us everything they had in that second half late. They did not do much of anything in the second half until those final 10 minutes, and I think the big reason for that were the substitutes. Oxford did nothing in that second half except for the last 10-15 minutes, and that was after we scored. Then their manager put on the subs, and they slowly grew into this contest, the subs. And you saw Oxford get a lot more of the possession. They had a lot more of the chances in this game. Watford had a number of chances. Bio should have scored a hat-trick, but he did get the all-important goal. I want to know from you, fellow Watford supporters, who your man of the match is today. I had put out a poll on X, at YOU ORNS WFC on X, and I had given 3 choices, or really 4. I said, is Georgie your man of the match? Bio your man of the match? Or is Matty Pollock your man of the match? Or is it someone else on Watford who you'd pick for the man of the match today? My pick, the YOU ORNS man of the match for me, is Georgie Chakvetazda. I thought his industry tonight was key. It kept Watford going when Watford weren't doing very much of anything in the first half. It was Georgie who was constantly keeping the line going. Good runs, marauding runs that had purpose to them. We hadn't seen that from Georgie in a number of weeks. But what we saw tonight from him was a lot of purposeful runs, a lot of really direct runs, and also some better end product from him. And more importantly than all of that, his set pieces, his corners were very sharp tonight, which we had not seen from him in a long, long time. I thought that he looked very, very lethargic in some of these other games. But tonight, he was very electric, and it was great to see him doing what he did in this game. Quadro Bar was the man who, of course, got the assist on the goal for Vicarage. It was Barr's run. So much of what Watford do well comes A, in the second half of the football match, and B, from Quadwell Barr, who was again really good down that right side. Did some really important things, drove that ball in, and of course it was Bio who found it, and then he got the second chance at it and buried it. Vicarage tonight, I thought, played well, was active, was busy, was in the fray, held up the ball pretty well against a well-organized Oxford side. That's not easy to do. I'm going to read out your comments on YouTube. Thank you, YouTube fans, for following and seeing this and liking it. Like this video, subscribe to the You ORNS WFC YouTube channel. It's great to have you aboard. And Matt on YouTube says, come on, unbeaten home run, continue, get in there. Yes, Matt, indeed, we are really running well here. Tom Cleverley has had an incredible start to this season. And David, I'm going to come to you on X next to hear your thoughts. But before I do go to David on X, with his comments about the match tonight, I want to just say, as I was saying about what Matt said, Tom Cleverley has had an incredible start to this season. You know, it's been 112 years since a Watford manager has enjoyed this kind of a start at home. It's unreal what Tom Cleverley has done. And to think that there are people out there shouting for Cleverley to be gone from this club a few weeks ago because of the whole Backman Bond affair or things unrelated to it is just mindless. I really want to know where those Watford fans are now. So that's what I have to say about that. Cleverley, for his troubles, got booked right in the final couple of minutes of the game and ended up with now a one-match touchline ban, would you believe? So Tom Cleverley wearing his heart on his sleeve as ever, and a referee who gave him a million yellow cards tonight. I will read out more of your comments, but as promised, I'm going to David first on X, so we all get to hear from David after Watford 1, Oxford United 0, a clean sheet from us as well, which is always good in fourth place. Hello there, David, and a very good Friday evening to you. As we wait for David to connect,
I think that's a really productive week in the end. Again,
yes, indeed.
You were saying exactly like the criticisms that have been thrown like Cleverley's way, or maybe for certain players as well, is just a bit odd. Particularly, obviously our away form is not particularly strong, but when you're that strong at home, again, nothing's going to be perfect, particularly with the squad that we've got. And it was just, pretty similar to other home games as well. Just pretty flat in the first half, but a really, really strong second. Talking about sort of criticism, see like the odd murmur on Chak Fatadze, saying that his final ball isn't always, the best, but I think that's absolutely ridiculous. He was absolutely superb again tonight. Maybe he's had a few more quiet games in recent weeks, but he's absolutely top draw for us. And yeah, it's exciting to watch us at times when we actually do get going. Barr again, as you said, electric, and he was what made the difference. I thought Bio was decent. So I think I agree with you. He was sort of lively, but that second goal would have been nice that he didn't quite get on the end of. Matty Pollock as well, individually, absolutely superb at the back. I think a clean sheet for this team is incredibly welcome. So yeah, again, we can very quickly forget about the Swansea game. Yet again, another productive week, and I think that's massive for this team because yes, we're not going to be perfect, and we sort of obviously drop points away from home. But if we keep on picking up 6 points from 3 games in a week, then I can't see anyone complaining about that.
David, yeah. I certainly hope nobody can complain. I agree. But we know what the fan base is. Yeah, we know what the fan base is about sometimes, but I agree with you, David. I know, listen, I can tell you, I have been one that had lamented Georgie over a few weeks. I did not, I'll tell you, I did not think that his end product was pretty good. He looked quite tired to me. But yeah, Georgie, one thing I will agree on is Georgie is a top-notch player at this club. He could well be gone from this club. before the end of the season, or at the end of the season. He's that good. I know he signed the deal that he signed, but we know that contracts are made to be broken. But he was back to his brilliant best tonight and looked very, very good in all departments, Dave. I think that you're 100% on the kind of performance that he had really set the table, especially in that second half. And Quadro Bar, as you quite rightly say, David, was on the money again. All the good things in these games come from Quadro Bar, and there's no secret about it. He looks really, really good, very strong. I thought he was very much up for the fight, as he is every time out. So that is what I would say to you, David. Anything else you had to say, David, before I move on?
I suppose just to finish on Chakvetadze, obviously the final ball isn't always going to be bang on the money, but if it was, then you'd be looking at a player that just should never be in this league, I suppose. So I think you just have to look at the chances created tonight as an example, but the statistics that back up his sort of value in this league is second to none. I think just a final comment, probably just on Loser as well. It was quite an important game for him, and obviously our central midfield has been sort of chopping and changing, obviously with injuries and suspensions. But I thought that was a brilliant performance from Loser overall. Obviously, it's, there's going to be certain imperfections. Defensively, he's not always the strongest, but yeah, I was actually really impressed with Loser. I thought he made a big difference to our midfield.
He certainly did. David, really appreciate your comments as always. Thank you indeed for them all. David, take care and have a good night.
You too.
Thank you very much, David. Great to hear from you. That's David there with his comments on Georgie and on the team. It's a great point that you made there, David, by the way, about Loser. I think he had his best game for a long time for the Golden Boys tonight. It was good to see him get a lot of minutes, gain confidence. He's obviously going to be very important to this team. Now we've had a number of injuries. He will fit the bill quite well. This is the player who was sent out on loan last season. Things with Val Ishmael and he did not go fairly well. There was a lot of discipline issues, but obviously now with a new manager, he's getting a new lease on life. And again, I want to keep saying this: Tom Cleverley is a former teammate to a number of these players. Loser was one of his teammates, so he wins the trust of the manager, does Loser, and I thought Loser performed very well tonight. That would be one of the secret weapons of this game. Now, again, the YOU ORNS man of the match is Georgie Chakvetadze for sure in this one, man of the match. And I think Matt agrees with me on YouTube with the choice. Matt on YouTube says Chakvetadze for me is man of the match. His runs to put pressure on Oxford were amazing. Plus, he almost scored from one of his corners if the defender didn't get on the line to clear the ball. Yeah, that's right. There was a great clearance from one of the Oxford defenders. That was going straight in. Yeah, that really was in that second, I think it was the first half, second half, maybe. I forget which half it was in. Probably the first half. I don't know. But yeah, Georgie did everything tonight right. Listen, yeah, he is definitely worth his weight. He got the deal, the 4 or 5 year deal that he signed. Matty Pollock could have scored tonight on the day that it was announced. He got his 5 year deal. And look, he's going to be captain of this side one day, Matty Pollock. And you see why. He had a very good game again tonight. Could have scored late in the game. Matty Pollock gives you everything every day. You wonder, you were concerned about him in the first half when he went down. He was kind of grabbing at his knee or around his leg area, and you were kind of nervous. But he walked that off. It was a knock, perhaps, and he was able to get back on his feet with the help of the Watford physios, who do a great job always. And he put together a really great shift tonight. I also thought that someone who was terrific out of possession in this game was Rocco Vata. Some people have been saying that they didn't think he, Brown Electrons on YouTube says, Rocco looking rusty. There's a player there, but he needs more game time. I agree with you, Brown. He does need more game time. I think where I differ with your comment is I felt that his running out of possession was very good. There was a time I saw him trying to press the ball. He lost the ball. He was trying to press the keeper. Keeper pushes the ball to his left back, and then Rocco just chases him down from a full 30 yards out, catches up to him, and manages to push him backwards. That's the kind of stuff that Rocco Vata gives you. He will run for days for you, and he will be committed to getting that ball and to forcing a mistake. And that's what you want from your players out of possession in these games. And Rocco Vata may not have done very much in the game. And I understand what you're saying, Brown, on YouTube. But I noticed that one run that he did there that I thought was very good. It's indicative of the kind of spirit that Rocco Vata brings to these games. And I do agree with you, though, Brown. He does need more playing time. He needs much more game time. I'd like to see him start one of these games. I really, really would. I don't remember whether he started against Swansea or not. I don't think he did. I would have liked, and now someone can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm only doing this from memory. I would have liked to see him start the Swansea game. I would have, because I think that the lads looked a bit tired the other night. No excuses. One thing I do want to point out is that, look, the defending tonight did enough. They were a couple of scares. There was the moment when Porteous headed the ball kind of off the back of his back, I think it was, off his back. It went to Pollock, it bounced off Pollock, and then it came to the Oxford player, who I don't know how he missed it, but he did, and we are thankful for that. Skied it over the bar. Oxford, if they're on another day, if that was at their, I'll tell you what, if that was at Oxford's, if that was Oxford at home against us, they probably would have scored them 2 goals. Those 2 chances that they missed point blank, 3 chances, including the one in the first half in front of the Rookery, they would have scored them 3 if it was at their place. We did, again, a lot of the good signs about Watford. Let me just say this to you: a lot of the good signs about our club is that we are winning some of these games with luck. I'm not belittling us. I'm not taking away the credit from us. But what I'm saying is that sometimes in this league, in any league, you have to get lucky sometimes. And that's a sign of when you're going well. Because when you are going well in this league or any league, you will get that lucky break. You will get that fortunate break. Now, we should have had a penalty tonight, which we didn't get that. But the bottom line is that when you are going well, you will see the ball bounce your way. You will see players missing from 3 yards out, skying the ball over the bar. You will see kind of stuff like that. That gives you a good idea that this team, with a defense that's depleted, by the way, can we not forget that? No Sierralta serving the 1-match ban. Ogbonna out for what, 3 months or whatever the heck it is now that he's going to be out for. He's out. Hey, this is a team that's doing this with a defense that is not tip top at the minute. We don't have our full complement of defensive players. But Matty Pollock has been the real leader in the defense this season, and he has been very strong at the back. Now, normally, he would play on the right side of that 3 that Tom Cleverley has. But what he did tonight was Clev stuck him in the middle of the 3 with Sierralta serving the 1-match ban. He put James Morrison on the left. Morris was not bad tonight. I know there are some Morris detractors, and I've been critical of him at times. But Morris tonight, I thought was decent. Thought he was decent. Thought he was committed. I thought he was a bit stronger tonight than we've seen him. I think he was pretty good down that left flank where he's parked. And of course, on the right-hand side, you had Ryan Porteous. I thought Porteous had a pretty good game today as well. Look, the midfield was better tonight. Kayembe didn't hurt himself at all. And Loser played very well. I thought Loser was good. I think the point that David made earlier was a really good one. And if you want to make some points, please hit the request button if you are on X. Would be lovely to hear from you. Or you can put your comments in on X and I will get to them in a moment. Lots of comments coming in on YouTube, on the live YouTube channel at YOU ORNS WFC. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, won't you? Please do that right now and like the videos as well. Here are some of the comments from Brown Electrons. Nah, he had a knock against Swansea, so he wasn't even on the bench. Thank you, Brown, for reminding me that about Rocco Vata. You're absolutely right. Now I do remember Vata did have a knock. Good point. I completely forgot that. Thank you, Brown. And Brown says, I hope Festi's injury isn't too bad. Thank you for mentioning that, Brown, because I wanted to get to that. Festi is your concern at the minute. The injury that he got, he could not put any weight on that left leg. I think it was his left. So that was the thing that you'd be concerned about. I think, I agree with you, Brown. Hopefully he is not too seriously injured. And then B, this was the last game before the international break. So Watford go into this international break going very well and into that top 6, which is exactly what Clevs wanted. Eric is on YOU ORNS post-match on X. and he would like to have a word. Eric, welcome aboard You ORNS post-match. Unmute there, Eric.
Hello, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, Eric. Loud and clear. How are you tonight?
I just want to say thanks, Omar, for covering the Watford games. You do a good job, mate.
Thank you very much for that. Really appreciate it.
I'm glad that we won today. We looked quite solid. Chapadazzi, he's so good, man. When he's on it, he's the best player on the pitch, easily.
He really is. I totally agree with you. Eric, you can see the kind of strength that he has when he goes forward. He has all the confidence and authority of what he does. And he does pose a nightmare for defenses when he streams forward at them. And he can do a lot of different things. He's very versatile. He can do a lot of different things for you. He finds space very well. He's able to manufacture space for other runners. He's very aggressive and he is very potent. So, Eric, I agree with you 110% on what you said about Mr. Georgie Chakvetadze. Anything else you wanted to say, Eric?
Who else played well today? I think we just, it was a good performance. There's just a few, Bio, I know he scored today, but just some of those chances, I'm like, come on, put that away. You can do better. You know, I just feel like if we had a better striker up front, we would have scored a few more goals.
Yeah.
I can't complain. He scored and we won 1-0. So, you know what we're talking about.
Thank you very much, Eric. Really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. Cheers. Eric there with the comments about Bio and about Georgie. I think everybody agrees that Georgie is a terrific footballer. Really good with what he does, knows what he's about. And again, Quadro Bar also in the same kind of mold. Obviously, they play different positions on the pitch, but the point I'm making about that is that both of these players really have a self-awareness, self-possession, and a lot of confidence about them, and they both galvanize and really give high voltage to the field of play, to their manager, and to the players on the pitch. They really do make things happen. The two of them together do make things happen, both together and individually on their respective positions on the pitch. So, yeah, I understand what Eric is saying there 110%. I agree, Eric, on that. And also, as for Bio, I know, we as Watford fans do sometimes pick and choose, and we do rightfully have our criticisms and concerns. I would say tonight, though, even though I agree with you, Eric, yes, as I mentioned before you came in, Eric, there could have been a hat-trick for Bio tonight. He could have had that kind of night again, as he did last Saturday. But one thing I can say is that look, football, the hardest thing to do in football is put the ball in the back of the net. So I know that we have a sense of bias because we know that Bio has had a million point-blank opportunities and has not made good on a lot of them. And so that's the arena from which we operate. But a man who's now scored 5 times in the last 3 games, I really can't criticize him at all there on that front. And the man is leading the team with 6 goals. You know, he is a striker, maybe not the prototypical striker, but he's a striker nonetheless. We'd like to see him score more, of course. But listen, his goals have won us 2 games this season, and no criticism there from me at all. But I understand where you're coming from, Eric, and for everyone else who may not be I don't know if Eric is a big Bio fan or not, but there are some Watford fans that aren't. But the point is the man's coming good for you now. The crow is crowing, and that's what you want. And this is his last season here. So when the crow crows, you got to take that. You know, he crowed tonight and got us all 3 points. So your man of the match tonight, who is it? We've got Chakvetadze, as a lot of people shout, including the You ORNS man of the match, Georgie Chakvetadze. Who would your man of the match be? I have thrown out a poll on X earlier, and I put Chakvetadze in the mix in that poll. I had put a number of other players, Matty Pollock included in there. So if you have a man of the match recommendation, please give it to us. We'd love to hear from you. Hit the request button, please, on You ORNS post-match on X. Great to see you aboard there. Thank you very much for your time. We'll go for a few more minutes before closing things down. Next 5 or 6 minutes on X, and then we'll move to Instagram to do the Instagram live, but we'll keep things running up and running on YouTube, and I'll read out your comments there. We've got some comments from the likes of Stuart Davies, who says Chakvetazda was awesome. Second half, get in there, says Stuart Davies. And furthermore, from Matt says it was good to see Jefferson, but I don't know why Cleverly just brings him on with not a lot of time left. He needs more time, more game time to build his confidence more so he can get used to the way we play. That's what Matt says about Jefferson. I think what you're doing there with Jefferson, or what Klebs is doing with Jefferson, is just trying to get some rhythm into him, just trying to get him into the rhythm of a game. And while I agree with you, Matt, that he probably should start him a little bit earlier on than the 80 whatever minute it was that he came in, I do think that it's just about rebuilding his confidence. He's obviously fairly fragile. You can see it in his body language. He needs an arm around him, and I think Klebs is doing that for Mr. Jefferson. And some players need that arm around him. They need to be gently told. I don't know for a fact that he's the kind of player that needs an arm around him. That's my judgment of it from afar. But I would say that he just looks that way, that he just has that aura about him, maybe a little bit someone that needs a little bit of time to be talked to. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's very healthy. I don't think there's anything negative about that. It's just an observation I'm making. But whatever it is, Matt, that this is probably the agreement that maybe the manager has with the player. I don't know. Of course, I'm sure Jefferson would love to get out there earlier. I too would like to see him out there a lot earlier as well. But I think that that's what Klebs wanted to do tonight. And by the way, I do like the way that he subbed again. He used a couple of subs in the injury time to help tack off some of that time. And I think that really helped. Very good subs, because at the time, if you remember, Oxford were really killing us in those final few minutes of injury time. And what Klebs did there with the subs, to bring on the subs, helped slow that down, cut out that momentum, slow down the tempo for Oxford there as they were going for the equalizer. That was a really good, smart move by the manager. And that, I think, was as important as getting the 3 points, was the substitutions there right at the end. So that helped slow down Oxford. And Oxford didn't quite get up to it again, although they did have one last chance that went right past the post at the end of it all. That was really how close it got. Brown Electrons on YouTube says, Chakvetazda or Pollock for man of the match. I'm leaning toward the Georgian wonder kid. Listen, these are the two guys who got the contracts over the last few months. Matty Pollock got his signed on the dotted line for 5 more years today. That was announced earlier today. And of course, Georgie got his, is it 4 years or 5 years? I think it's 4 years for Georgie. I forget, but he gets a long-term contract as well. These two players are really important to Watford, and also his bar. So we've got players now in 3 different areas of the pitch who are of critical importance to this team. And the other news about that is they're all very young players. Georgie is what, 23, 24. Barr is still like 20, I think, 19, 20, and Pollock is young. So, these 3 players could be the cornerstone, along with Ryan Andrews, could be the cornerstone of this club, this team, for a number of years. You've got Ryan Andrews, you've got Chakvetazda, you've got Pollock, and you've got Barr. Those are 4 solid players who are your cornerstones right now in this Watford side. And I tell you, if those 4 can stay around, that quartet can stay around for Watford, it will really be good. We need to keep the foundations going. We've got the academy. We've got some promising talent there. You've got the foundations back. You've got the building blocks back. You've got Watford alumni, if you will, in Paul Robinson, who today Robbo really got into it. I think he shouting at one of the referee tonight. Clev's got the yellow card, and as I said, he's got a touchline ban for 1 game when the international break is over. But the bottom line is Watford go into that international break now with those 3 points. That is a really good note on which to go on. I think that's maybe only the first, if not second time this campaign that Watford have gone into an international break with a victory. I think the last time around, I think we beat Middlesbrough, and then we went into an international break there. What we would love to do on the other side of this international break is to come out of it with a win, and we can start to really push forward here. This Watford side, really, with a number of players out, no Ogbonna, no Sierralta, no TDB, no Musa Sissoko, who was serving the third of his final 3-match ban. So he'll be fresh and ready to go after the 2-week break. So you'll see Musa Sissoko back in that midfield. All these players that we've been without over the last 2 or 3 weeks, and we hope that Festi as well. And I just pray to God that he is safe and sound, and that his injury is not too bad. All of these players who are out injured or who had problems, look, we can build. We still got Kevin, who had a subs appearance, I think, the last game or so. These players we can build on. Duomo was good again tonight. He had a brief stint, but I thought he was good. I thought he looked lively, looked a lot sharper than he did 3 days ago. Obviously looked tired in that game against Swansea the other day. But Duomo looked good tonight. And so we've got players who can actually get things going for us. And I'm very pleased about that. And we've got a good coaching staff. Don't forget, we've got Damon Lathrop, who, of course, managed the Watford women a couple of seasons ago, who got them promoted a couple of seasons ago. So we've got some good foundations to build on here. And the owner, I think, realizes that now. And because of what's going on, I think he'll leave well enough the hell alone. I would hope. I think the owner sees what's going on here, understands that Tom Cleverley is the man for the job. And I predicted this before the season even began. Tom Cleverley is going to finish the end of this season as Watford manager. I said that about a month before this season began. So, look, this is the unit and this is the nucleus that we are building, that Clevs is building, that the coaching staff is building, and that the front office is building. Now, we're still going to have to look at January. We're still going to have to look at getting a striker in. We obviously do not score a lot of goals. Look, now we did score 6 the other day. Don't get me wrong, but we need to score goals and we need to have goal scorers. And obviously we need to get another striker. Now, could we bring back the likes of a Rajovic, dare I say, from Brondby? Or, I mean, we know it's a full season loan, but maybe we could bring him back somehow. We've had situations where you can short circuit a loan, but I think that might be for emergency situations. But the bottom line is that we do need another player up front. I do think that's beneficial for us. And I do think we probably need someone else as well to cover in defense as well. But the defending tonight was not bad. I don't think it was. Here are the comments coming in from YouTube. If you've got some comments on X, please hit the request button and share them with us all. After Watford 1, Oxford 0. Thank you very much indeed, everybody, for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you aboard here on this Friday night or Saturday, wherever you are across the world, or whenever you happen to be listening to this edition of the You ORNS post-match, live on X and live on YouTube. We'll be going off to Instagram land in just a few short minutes' time. And here's what Brown on YouTube says to us. I like that Clevs, is proactive rather than reactive with his subs. Haven't had a gaffer like that in a while. Yep, absolutely. Brown, I agree. Cleverly usually forces the issue with his subs. He doesn't make any mistakes with them. There's maybe one game this season where he didn't get the tactics right, and he admitted it. In fact, I think he did the same thing with the Swansea game, but I don't think it was his fault, Swansea. We just weren't at it. But his subs, in pretty much every occasion has been spot on. I thought tonight he was very good with that. He always gets the pulse of the team right. For the most part, I think that he's been brilliant with the subs this season, without exception, really, with maybe one game, but so what? Every manager's going to make a mistake in these games. It happens. But Cleverly, as you said, Brown, absolutely on top of the subs, very proactive. And I appreciate your comment there, Brown, as always. And you added something else, Brown, this comment on YouTube. What do you think of the ref tonight, Omar? I thought he was crap, says Brown. Yeah, the referee did not have a great game. Brown, I was not happy with him. There was clearly a penalty. In fact, there could have been 2 penalties. There was a handball. Oh, my goodness me. I don't know how he didn't see it. I mean, I know I get it. Sometimes you don't see it. Did the linesman see it? I don't remember. I'd have to go watch the game back. But my goodness me, that referee missed a lot. He missed 2 penalties, one against both of them should have been penalties for us. The ball clearly was handled by the Oxford player off his bandage, clearly, and he moved his hand forward into the ball. I mean, my God, how did the referee not see it? But again, I know I call for during the comments during the game, I did go on X and say we should get VAR. Someone said, no, don't go calling for that in the championship. But the bottom line is that their VAR, had VAR been in place, and hopefully we can trust, in quotes, that people who man the VAR would do their job properly, for heaven's sake. Maybe that's too much to ask. That should have been a Stonewall pen for us, because that's what it was. And then the other pen we should have had was blatant, clearly being pulled down in the box, was Eberselli. I think it was Eberselli. I don't know how that was not called either. But here, listen, that was a penalty. I think it was Eberselli that got pulled down, or Larucci, whomever it was. That was a Stonewall pen. And no, nothing done about it. Nothing at all. It's just unbelievable. I don't get it, mate. But that's what the ref says, and that's what the ref's verdict was. Now, what I'm going to do now is say thank you very much indeed to those of you on X. I will read out some comments before I let X fans go, if you will. Matt tonight says Andrews played well, especially when the Oxford goalkeeper cleared the ball out and the Oxford player was waiting for the ball to come to him, and Andrews run in front of him and intercepted the ball. Andrews run, yeah, absolutely. Andrews run in front of him and intercepted the ball. Yeah, that was Matt, I'm so glad you mentioned Ryan Andrews, because Andrews did have a good game tonight. Sometimes you don't see that on the score sheet, and sometimes you don't understand that if you're not watching this game. But if you watch the game, and of course you did, as did I and all the Watford fans listening and watching, you would have seen a very good Ryan Andrews performance. He was on the ball very well. He was great off the ball. And what you pointed out there was the example of his off the ball skills. Out of possession, he was very good tonight. He was brilliant tonight, and I'm glad that you mentioned him. He easily could be someone that you might consider in the running for man of the match. He wouldn't win it, but he would definitely be in the running, because I thought he did a lot of things off the ball that were very effective for us once he came on the pitch. I think was he a sub tonight? No, he started the game tonight. So I correct myself. He started the game tonight. But there are a lot of good things that Ryan Andrews did, building his portfolio and building the appearances for this club. He has done a very nice job, Ryan Andrews. Again, as I said, there's those 4 players who are the cornerstone now of this team. And that, as I said, would be Ryan Andrews, Matty Pollock, and it would be someone the likes of Quadwo Barr, and also the other player who's named Georgie, who I almost forgot to mention. But those are the 4 players who are cornerstones for this club at the minute. And then Jack has a comment. Thank you, Jack, for your comment here. And Matt, yours as well. And everybody on YouTube. Solid game, that. We should have scored a couple more, I thought. Yeah, Jack, we should have had 2 or 3 in the bank. And so we wouldn't have had such a nervy ending. Watford should have put this game to bed, as Jack says, earlier than they did. I mean, well, not earlier, because Watford didn't do anything in the first half of any note. But once Bio scored in the 54th minute, Watford had a number of chances where they should have put them away, and this game would have been home and hose. They would have been done and dusted there, but they didn't get that done, and they had to hold on the hard way, as they do. Watford scoring goals now in the first 10 minutes of second halves. We're beginning to see that as a happy habit for our Hornets. We didn't see that a lot earlier in the season. We were conceding a lot of early goals in these games. We did concede an early goal a few games ago, but the bottom line is we're now scoring a lot of these goals early in second halves. It happened against Sheffield Wednesday, of course, the other day, last Saturday, and it's happened again tonight on a Friday night. I really am delighted that we got the win under the lights tonight. We were the only game in town tonight. I think, no, there was another game. Might have been, was there? Rotherham might have been playing. No, Rotherham, I don't know if Rotherham are in another division, I think. But we were the only championship game tonight. So it was really good to see that we got ahead of the pack, got ourselves into the top 4. We are 4th. I listen, it's a great place to be in going into an international break. I don't know what else you can say about it. That's pretty much all I have to say about it for X. For fans of X who are on X, thank you very much indeed. Follow along on X at YOU ORNS WFC, and on Instagram at YOU ORNS WFC, and of course on the YouTube channel. Please follow the channel and subscribe to it at YOU ORNS WFC on YouTube. For X, for those of you on X, take care. I want to thank you very much indeed for listening. The final score was Watford 1, Oxford 0 at the Vic. We keep our unbeaten record going into November. Wow. Tom Cleverley, who will miss the next game with the touchline ban, is the first manager in over 112 years to have this kind of start at the Vic to a season. It is phenomenal stuff. And we have to keep going with this kind of performance and run that we have. Well, we hope that Festi's doing well and hope that he will get better. Hope that his injury is not serious. We'll hear, I'm sure, a whole lot more about that. But for those of you on X, I want to thank you very much. The final again, Watford 1, Oxford 0. And until 2 weeks' time, take care and you odds. Thank you for those of you on X. Have a good week and a good fortnight. So those of you on YouTube, thank you very much for staying with it here. We'll go until the top of the hour and we'll go to Instagram land as well. So we'll do that here in just a few moments time where Insta is concerned. I want to read out more of your comments tonight. It's a pleasure to have you aboard. Thank you very much indeed, fellow Watford supporters, for getting on board here on this brand new edition of You ORNS post-match on X. We're about to go on Instagram and do that live now. But I do want to read a comment or two. Well, there's one comment in here from Neil Rigby who says, I didn't like the ref, but I like the result. Absolutely, Neil. Thank you for that comment on YouTube. Great to have you aboard here, Neil, as well. And yeah, you know, the referee was not good tonight. The referee was giving out, by the way, I think Brown Electrons was asking about that earlier. The referee gave out way too many yellow cards. And by the way, can we also talk about the red card that he missed? You know, I think he should have given a red card to that Oxford player. Now, I don't know what you think about that, fellow Watford supporter. I didn't mention it on X, but I think he should have easily got a red card for stamping on. I forget who it was. He stamped on Larucci, I think, or whomever it was who he stamped on. That should have been a red. And that's for me to say. That's what I think. But this referee was way too card happy tonight. And we didn't need to have all of that. He was acting as if he was the one who was the star of the show. And speaking of stars of the show, you are now a star of the show on Instagram. You ORNS Extra on Instagram Live. Welcome aboard to you. And it's great to have you aboard here, Omar, on this edition of You ORNS Extra on Instagram Live and the post-match, and live also on YouTube, where we've been talking here for the last 35 minutes or so, or a bit more than that now. Jack Boddington has joined us from Australia. Hello, Jack, to you. Harrison Allardyce has joined us as well in Instagram land. A pleasure to see you here as well. Yes, Omar, says Jack Boddington. Lewis has joined us on Instagram. Right Turn Clyde has joined us on Instagram. Harrison Allardyce says, love the new mic. You would. Yes, indeed, Harrison. I've got to tell you, I've had this microphone for a number of years, but I've just never really put it on display during the You ORNS post-match. So I decided to do it today. And Harrison, thank you for that. And it is new because, of course, you wouldn't have seen it for all the time I've been doing these post-matches. I try to keep the mic out of the picture, but here it is. Billy Hughes has joined us as well on Instagram. Get in, says Lewis on Instagram. We've got the Instagram crew in full effect, YouTubers. So come on, we want to get all your comments in. I'll read them all out on YouTube and right here on Instagram. Right Turn Clyde with the flex. And Billy Hughes says, hello, Omar. Hello, Billy. What a win. We got the job done, Billy. How about that? After Watford 1, Oxford United 0. We got the job done tonight. Waking up, says Jack Boddington, in Australia at 4 a.m. is always tricky, but the result always makes it worth. Yes, it does. Absolutely. And I know what you're talking about, Jack, because I've had to get up many a time at that time of the morning here in California to see the Golden Boys with the early afternoon kickoff. So I do know what you are talking about. Definitely sounds more clearer. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Harrison, for that. So then I should keep this microphone here then. I'm glad that you hear it loud and clear. And so I will make sure that the microphone becomes a more permanent staple of the You ORNS Instagram post-match. More comments from you. Come on, You ORNS, says Lewis Honeysett. Great to see you, Lewis. Again, thank you for your remarks. Should have got more than the one goal, says Harrison, but I'd say comfortable win. Well, Harrison, we could probably have scored more goals tonight. But of course, as you obviously know, and everyone knows, all you need. One goal is all you need in these games, as long as you keep a clean sheet. Comfortable win. I definitely would beg to differ with you there. This was not comfortable at all, especially those last 5 minutes where we had the injury time. In fact, there were numerous times I thought in this game, Harrison, where things got very dicey for us. Oxford should have scored 3 different times in the game in the first half. The ball across the box in front of the rookery, where the player just couldn't get his toe close enough to it. Otherwise, that would have been 1-0 Oxford. The other times, the 2 times they had in the second half, where really they didn't do anything in the second half except for the final 5 minutes and a few minutes before, earlier in the half, when the player, I don't know how he missed from point blank range, but he did with the overhead kick. He skied it. And there was another situation where right from point blank range, he missed it. This was not a comfortable game in my view. So we can agree to disagree there, Harrison. It's all right. This was, for me, I did not find this game to be a comfortable win. The game, I think, was watchable. In the second half, the first half, we didn't do anything that merited any watching of anything. Backman, remember, you talked about it being comfortable. Remember how Backman was well off his line in the second half, and that long ball almost caught him out. He had to make a great save, Harrison, to stop that from being 1-1. So, there were a number of moments that Oxford had in this game that made this a lot more tense than it had any right to be. Oxford, a non-league side, I think they played pretty blooming well in the first half and should have scored in the second. So for me, we'll just leave it there. It's okay. We don't have to agree on everything when it comes to Watford. But I tell you, it's great to have everybody in. A lot of comments coming in, and I'm going to read them all, including the ones on YouTube. YouTubers, I promise I will read these, but the energy on Instagram has been quite vigorous here on this Friday night, as you can imagine. Huey has joined us. Hello, Huey. Jack Boddington says, in terms of January improvements, do we need to gamble on another striker? Jack, I think the answer is yes. I said this on X earlier before coming in on YouTube, on Instagram. Look, I think Watford do need to get another striker. We need to score some more goals up front. We need to have that presence in the strike force. We don't really have a presence in the strike force. And of course, the one presence in quotes is in Brondby right now. His name is Mileta Rajovic, and Rajovic is enjoying football in Denmark right now. In Brondby. So, he had a presence. He just didn't use enough of it. I know a lot of fans have called for him to come back. Some fans have called for him to stay where he is. Bio hadn't done anything until just this past week when he scored all 4 of those spectacular goals. And then he scored today, and he should have scored more. But hey, here we are. I do think, Jack, we need another striker. I think that's very important for us. And I think January is worthwhile going for one. Jebison, short of confidence. You saw him come in late, and you can tell he looks rather fragile at the moment. And we don't know what's going on off the pitch for him. He might be going through something personally that might have affected him. And Tom Cleverley may not have felt the liberty to go and talk about any of that. And he's protecting his player. So I think with Clevs may be protecting his player. He had every right to do that. And you can tell that Jebison's short of confidence. So, Jack, yes, in terms of January improvements, yes, we need to gamble on getting another striker in here. That's the way I look at this. I want to read out some comments on YouTube as well. Matt says, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall during the break to find out what Cleverley had to say to the players, because whatever he said was locked in the players' brains for the whole of the second half. Yeah. Matt, 100%. I'm glad you pointed that out, because I hadn't yet got to that either. I wasn't even thinking about that. The transformation between first half and second was through the roof. I mean, it was Jekyll and Hyde night and day. And you saw how much these players played well in the second half. They bossed it second half. They made their possession count. That was the biggest difference there, Matt. We dominated the ball in the first half, did nothing with it. Oxford had the better chances first half. They should have scored twice first half. We, however, with all the possession, didn't do anything with it. Second half, we had all the possession and did something with it. And we got that goal within the first 10 minutes of the second half. So, yes, whatever he did say, definitely he lit a fire under them. And it showed because they played so much differently and so much better second half of that contest. They were marauding all over Oxford. They attacked Oxford second half, which they didn't do first half. We were wondering in the first half, how come they're not pressing them? How come they're not moving the ball quick enough? How come they're not attacking the spaces well enough? How come they're not more runners going forward? And I know some of that has to do with the formation, perhaps, and some of the fact that the midfield isn't the same as it was because we lost our midfield, of course, with no TDB, and we've got Sissoko serving the final of his 3-match ban. But the point is that the lads looked lost out there. They didn't have a sticking point in that first half. Second half, different story. So, Matt, thank you for that comment. Reading your comments on Instagram. We'll go back to YouTube comments in a moment. But Instagram, Huey says, loser is back. You know what, Huey? I'm sorry, I was trying to say your name and losers at the same time. Huey, loser had a really good game, and he is back, and I'm glad you pointed that out. What a game he had. He is one of the secret weapons of the game. I want to hear who your man of the match was, Huey, and everybody else watching on Instagram. Mine would be Mr. Georgie Chakvatazda, who I thought was brilliant tonight, back to his brilliant best. Great marauding runs, had purpose on his football tonight, and really had the right direction and better corner kicks from him too. Ince did not play tonight. Did you notice that? I don't know. No, maybe Ince did come on, perhaps. Maybe did Ince come on? I think he did come on later in the game, but Ince did not start the game tonight, and I think that was to rest him. But Georgie, since we talked about how his corner kicks weren't very good, wow, definitely woke up tonight. He was very good tonight, Georgie, and he deserves man of the match. The You Orns man of the match, for those of you on Instagram, is Georgie Chakvatazda with his brilliance. I'm going to read out more of your comments. Bio is good. Now he has his confidence. He does more than just score. You Orns, says Billy Hughes. Well done. Yes, indeed. Holly, hello to you. I hope you're still watching there, Holly. Come on, You Orns, says Holly. Thank you, Holly. Great to see you aboard. Right Turn Clyde says, I think we are punching above our weight right now, but I'll take it. Defensively, we are still suspect, starting with our captain, says Right Turn Clyde. You know, Clyde, I understand what you're saying there. I know we're in 4th place, and I understand that where you're coming from, but at this point, being in 4th place with half your team out injured, you got to take that for what it is. That's pretty blooming good. I mean, I hear what you're saying about this lot being, maybe we are, because most of us didn't think that this team, after 15 games or so, would be in the top 4. Who thought that? Nobody did at Watford. You had some of us going, oh, well, this lot's going to struggle this season. You had some of us going, oh, well, we'll be lucky if we don't go down. You had some of that talk in June and July. And you can't fault that. Because back in June and July, we were coming off a wretchedly awful season. We were at one point we were flirting with that bottom 6, 7, and 8 in the championship last season, and so you can understand why some of the fan base would react that way. So I predicted they finish in the top 10. I had 8th, 9th, or 10th as their start. That's what I predicted before the season started. I thought they'd finish in the top 8 or 9 or 10. So right now, they're above my expectations. And so this team still has some things it needs to do better. Obviously, as you say, Right Turn Clyde, the defending needs to improve. But tonight, I didn't see the defense being a problem. I thought the defense had a pretty decent game tonight. And yes, there were a couple of Keystone Cops moments. Remember the time when Ryan Porteous tried to head the ball and it awkwardly came off of the back of him and it went straight to Pollock and it bounced off Pollock, and then the Oxford player had a point blank range chance and he skied it. That was the problem too. That was an issue. We were lucky to get away with it. So we did have a couple of moments, Clyde, where we where we could have been punished, but we got away with it. But here's the thing to take away, Clyde. In games like this, a sign of progress for us, a sign that you're going well, is when you get breaks like that, is when you are lucky. Because when you are going well, you will get luck coming your way because you make your own luck. And so the ball will bounce your way when you are going well. And when you're not going well, the ball will not bounce your way. So I think that you got to take that for what it is. I understand your point. But to be in 4th place before tomorrow's kickoffs, I mean, they've done all the manager asked them to do. The goal from the manager was to get into the top 6 by the time the international break came. And that's exactly what they've done. Now, tomorrow, depending on what happens, they could be 7th. They could perhaps possibly be 7th. But look, they did their job. And tonight, they're in the top 4. I mean, I think that's fantastic. You can't complain about that. I know you're not complaining, Clyde. I'm just saying that, my goodness, if we're 4th and we've got half our squad out injured and we got suspensions, we got the manager suspended, for goodness sake. He's got a touchline ban after the international break. And Ogbonna's out for months. TDB, we don't know what's going to happen. And Ngaki is out. I mean, come on. I mean, Kevin's in and out now. Festi tonight got injured. God knows what happened there. I'd love to know about Festi, and someone will probably look that up while I'm on the air here. I mean, we got 1 million people out. Sierra Alta 1 match ban, and look, we're 4th. It wasn't the best display, but you know what now? Effort was there. I've talked about this before. For those of you watching, and thank you for doing so on both YouTube and on Instagram, our effort means something. There's a big difference in this league, in this footballing game we love, between performance and effort. And effort is what counts. And effort gets you over the line. Sometimes performance doesn't. Sometimes you can perform and be stinking up the joint like we did the first half. And the thing is that if you give a bad performance, right, you're not going to win the game. More often than not, you're not going to win a game. If you give a bad effort, you will definitely lose a game. If you give no effort, you will definitely lose a game. But if you give an effort, you got a good chance in the championship. But if you have a good performance, if you have a bad performance, chances are you do have a chance to win them games, even if you ever perform lousy. But if you don't have an effort, you will lose. You will lose. So look, effort versus performance. Effort means everything in the championship. Effort, the championship is an effort league. It's about putting in a shift. That's effort. Put in a shift. The championship is an effort league, not a performance league. You know what a performance league is? The Premier League. The Premier League is a performance league. You've got to perform. You've got to be up to it. You've got to have some quality. In the championship, you don't necessarily have to have the quality to get over the line. Were Watford terrific on quality tonight? No. Was Georgie brilliant tonight? Yes, he is the YOU ORNS man of the match. But effort is what these lads put in, especially that second half. Lots to read out on YouTube and on Instagram. And Holly says, we need a better striker. We need Rajovic back. Would have kept him, says Holly. And that's the shout from Holly there. Yeah, again, Rajovic gives you presence. I wish he had more dimension to him. But I think if you bring Rajovic back, Holly, I think it looks a lot better for us. We've got options. We've got someone who can actually use his attributes. And I think he will use them more if and when he comes back. Will he ever play again for Watford? I'm very skeptical about it. I know Cleb says he will, but that's talk in the media, isn't it, Holly? We don't know. But would even someone like me, who's not the biggest fan of him, would I like to see him back? Yeah, I would. Now, Bio's scoring goals now, and that's good. And I'm glad to see that the man is coming good. I love Bio. He does everything for you along the pitch, and now he's finally starting to get goals. We cannot disrupt his rhythm because he leads all goal scorers, 6 goals. He had 4 in the championship all the last season. He has 6 in the championship now. 4 of those championship. Imagine scoring as many goals as you scored the entire championship season last season in one half of football. That's what Bio did last week. So Bio's got to keep humming. You got to keep the crow crowing, and you got to keep him hot because he's nice and hot right now for you with the goals. And so he's got to keep playing. But yes, would I like to see Rajovic come back in as well? I'd like to see Rajovic come in. We do need another striker, and as I told I think Jack earlier, we need to sign one in January. I don't know what kind. Jebison is short of confidence. He's going to be babied along. No, that's not a bad thing to say. But he needs to get the confidence back. And so you saw him come in late. Something could be going on off the pitch for him. As I said before, I did the Instagram, I think, that, something could be, I may have said this earlier while we were on the air here on Instagram. There might be some off-field issues going on for Jebison that we don't know about. That's not to make excuses. That's to be empathetic and to say that, look, football is about confidence. A lot of it is about confidence and your mind, your mentality and mindset. And there might be a mental health break that he needs. I don't know. I'm being very sincere about that. I'm not trying to be making light of that at all. But yeah, obviously Jefferson hasn't hit the mark yet for us. Yeah, Holly, I think you're right. I think Rajovic needs to be back on the side. We need to have more options. We need to be a bit more dimensional with our striking. I mean, Bard does what he does on the right-hand side, but our strikers need to be the main focal point. We need to start attacking the box more, I don't want to sound too critical, but to everybody watching, we need to attack the box. We didn't attack the box in the first half at all, really. We need runners. We need runners. We need runners. Oxford were very good out of possession tonight. That's one thing I'll say for them. They were very well organized out of possession. They defended in a block. They were very good on the low block. They were very good at pressing out of possession. They pressed us well, and I wish that we had done that better. And that's the only criticism I've got tonight with a win. A win. Our kingdom for a win. Our queendom for a win. Anything for a win. And we got it tonight. Good bounce back from the Hornets after what we did on Tuesday. I forgot what we did on Tuesday. What did we do on Tuesday? You see, I forgot already. So Watford winning 1-0 tonight. The clean sheet. Listen, even with the defending, the clean sheet was the most important thing about this game, and the effort was the most important thing. And of course, Georgie, the YOU ORNS man of the match today. I'll read out your comments. Billy says, I feel bad for Jefferson. It's hard to get into the game with 5 minutes. Yeah. And as I was saying on X, Billy, I think there's a lot of confidence issues. And I think Tom Cleverley's just trying to put an arm around his striker and slowly work him in. I bet they've had a lot of conversations that you and I are probably not privy to, that we definitely are not privy to. And I think that this is part of what is going on. And in Watford fans now, I think it's just going to be patient with Jefferson. I just sense that there might be something going on off the field that we don't know about. Again, I don't know personally what's going on, but I wish him the best, and I wish him he gets some more playing time eventually. Maybe this international break he'll have some chances to work himself back in. Huey says, Mom, Georgie, no doubt. Man of the match is Georgie, says Huey. No doubt, but Backman kept us in the game. Yes, he did. For all the times we've criticized Backman was very important tonight. He was off his line in the second half, and that long ball almost caught him out, but he made a great save to stop it. He made 2 great saves in that second half. So Backman, I know, won't get the credit tonight, but he did get some good moments in this game. Brown Electron says, Tom, I'm sorry, let me just go back here. Matt, I would have loved to have been on the fly on the... Oh, yeah, I did read that. Matt's second comment. Sorry, Matt, on YouTube. Backman said he was stamped on and nothing happened. Yeah, that was another thing about that referee. And thanks for reminding me, Matt. Terrible referee tonight. Yeah, he did get stamped on. I saw it. And the referee, you could see Backman saying, ref, he stamped on me. And the referee was like, And I think he might have given a yellow card. But blimey, if he stamped on you, you should be off, mate. You should be off the pitch. How are you giving the man a yellow after the fact, right? And then you've not sent him off. I think what Backman should have done is shown him the mark where he stamped him. And if he had done that, maybe the referee gives the red. I don't know. But yeah, I saw it. That should have been a red. I mean, there was the other one I mentioned earlier that I think it was Larucci or someone got stamped on. Nothing there either. Studs on him. We've seen Watford players get sent off for less. I remember Capu when he used to play for us years ago. He slid over the ball and his studs caught the top of someone's foot in one of the Premier League matches, and he was off. I think it was at Leicester a few years ago. He was off, and his referee sent him off for that. How come this guy's not sent off for stamping on Backman or the other guy who missed the ball completely, mind you, and stamped on? Unbelievable. That referee was terrible. I mean, James Morris got a yellow card for actually getting the ball. Referee gives him a yellow card. Unbelievable. Yeah, the ref was awful. I should have been much more forceful about that on X earlier. But no, I agree. The referee was terrible today. Right turn, Clyde. Exactly where we are punching. I will take it. Says right turn, Clyde on Instagram. Thanks to that, Clyde. But change our keeper in January, says Clyde. 100% on that. Right turn, Clyde says Clevs knows the score. He has passion. It was obvious from that second half performance. He is a club man and gets the championship. Joe Larkin says hello. Hello, Joe. Joe. Good to see you. After a win, Watford 1, Oxford nothing. How about that? All the way back to Oxford without anything to show for it. What was a really good effort from them, I think, in the second half. And in the first, they were much more industrious and much more busy, much more opportunistic, but they didn't capitalize on their opportunities. And the home form continues for the Golden Boys as the Crow gets the goal in the 54th minute to give Watford all 3 points and give us a 4th place right now in the table in the championship. And of course, before tomorrow's games, we take advantage and savor that 4th place at the moment, doing what Clev's asked, finishing the top 6 by the time the next international break comes about. So here we go on that. Honey said, Lewis says, Duomo was decent what I saw of him. Yeah, Duomo was on the pitch for 15 minutes. He was very good. Back to the sharpness and the really good play that we saw from him in his championship debut against Sheffield Wednesday last Saturday. Yeah, I thought Duomo was really good tonight. Got him. You see, he found his feet tonight there, Lewis, which he didn't on Tuesday night. You odds. Thank you, Joe. Good to see you. Harvey Smith joins us. Chris Brearley joins us. Chris, hello, Omar, says Chris. Hello there, Chris. Good to see you. We'd have lost that last season, says Chris. Yeah, we would have. We would have, Chris. Good point on Instagram. Chris says that quite rightly. We would have lost that game last season. We had a number of chances to put the game away. We didn't. Oxford should have scored at least twice. They didn't. And as I was saying earlier, Chris, before you may have come in, or maybe you had come in and you heard me say this, when you're going well, and we have done generally this season, you get the lucky breaks, the fortunate bounces of the ball, because how that Oxford player missed from 3 yards out, skied the ball over the bar. I mean, it was into the Anne Swanson. I don't know how that happened, but I'm thankful that it did happen. Thank you, Chris Brearley. Clevs is the real deal. Chris adds, Joe Larkin, great second half. Could have easily been 3 or 4-0. It could have. Oxford have lost a lot of narrow games. They've lost a lot of 1-0s and 2-1s this season. I predicted before this match that Watford would win 2-1, but they went one better and kept a clean sheet for all of that. Yeah, we should have scored more, but that happens sometimes in games. Look, but just think, we scored 6 against Sheffield Wednesday there, Joe, last Saturday, and you wondered where did the 6 goals come from, but they scored a blitz of goals where you're wondering, should they have scored that many? And then tonight, we had the other end where we should have probably scored about 3 or 4 goals, and we only had the 1. That's the way the championship is. That's the way football is. And that's the way life is, really, when you're talking about all of these things in the grand scheme. Lewis, very bad ref. Lewis says, draw in the first half for Chris Brearley. Incredible second half. Ref was diabolical. Yeah, the ref was absolutely spare tonight. He went spare. He was absolutely heads gone, that ref. Dan Atkins, hello, you odds. Dan, great to see you. Have to grind out results like this to be up here, up there. Yep, you do. Yeah, good point there, Dan on Instagram. And I'm going to go back to YouTube. I'm not leaving you out. Thanks very much for the Watford fans here on YouTube for joining us on the You Orns post-match. We'll go for about 10 more minutes because it is late. I do see the time. It's just after 11 o'clock. Thank you for being loyal, and thank you for watching and supporting, and for your comments across the board as well. Let me read them out to you. Tom just said on Sky, says Brown Electrons, if Georgie adds goals to his game, he's a top 4 player. Yeah, wow, that's great praise from the manager, because I do agree with that sentiment. Georgie's going to be hot property if he continues to do this and adds goals. He's got the 1 goal this season, which was, of course, against Millwall at the start of the season. But yeah, you know, if he gets 5 or 6 goals to his name, yeah, he's going to be real hot property, top 4 player. And that means Premier League clubs will be sniffing in for him. You know that. But we'll see what happens from here. Georgie's been outstanding this season. Probably your player of the season right now. I'd put Matty Pollock in that mix. I know it's early. I'd put the likes of Quadro Bar in that mix as well. I think all 3 of them have been stellar so far this season. Thank you for that comment, Brown. Neil Rigby says, not scoring a second invited the pressure we had to bear at the end. I do agree with that. It makes things very nervy for us. But the thing is, we held firm at the end. But yes, it did add to a very nervy ending of that game. Neil Rigby continues, I'd like to be a fly on the wall when Tom got his yellow card. Yeah, absolutely, Neil. Did you see him have a swing at something behind him? Yeah, actually, I think I did. He turned around and he did. But yeah, the passion is there. Tom probably thinks he's still playing the game, and he could still play it, obviously. But of course, I know he had an injury that I think forced him, obviously, to retire. But Tom cleverly is growing in leaps and bounds as a manager, and he's going to get that one game touchline ban for the yellow that he got. But look, it's the passion, and you love to see it from your players. I know Bar got a card for displaying a lot of that passion as well. Dissent at the ref. The ref got a lot of things wrong tonight. And so, look, I know there were some really foolish decisions, and that's what Bar reacted to. But even Bar knows that he's got to be careful. I know he's a young lad. He's got lots to learn, but he's got to be careful about yellows in this game. And he got that one fairly early. Chris Briley says, good to see you, Omar, on Instagram. Time for bed and dream about you. Odds. Yeah, Chris. Have a good night there, man. Sleep tight and don't let the big dead buzz bite on this Friday night as we go forward here on both You Orns Extra on Instagram Live and here, of course, on YouTube. We'll do about 10 more minutes and we have to make it move because, of course, I know it is very late for most of you. Thank you for staying up late and watching. And Lewis Honeyset says, just got to sort out our away form, and I reckon we can fight for promotion. Lewis, thank you for the comment. If we can get anything close to our home form away from home, yeah, we will be absolutely right up there. Who would have thunk that we'd even be saying the words promotion in the first, 3 months of a season? Who would think that promotion would be in any comment that a Watford fan makes this season? But that's how it's been going so far. We've gone awfully well so far. That's our 8th win of the season, if memory serves me. Is it our 8th win? I think it is. 8 wins, 1 draw, and 6 defeats. Pretty good. Pretty good, right? I think that makes it 15 games we've played this season. 15 games, 8 wins from those 15. Pretty good stuff going so far. You know, if we can do that, that's a total. You know what that is? That's 24 wins on a season. If we keep that going, right? That's roughly 24 wins, right? Somewhere around there. 20, we'd have 20 wins. I mean, really. 45 games, 46 championship games. We've played 15 of them, right? So if we keep that kind of form going, right, for the next 2/3 of the season, that's 24 wins. It's our home form. Our home form is going to be the big reason why we might be up and running in the playoffs. And certainly, if we can get some more away wins, we'll be right up there for a promotion possibility. Going to read out your comments on both YouTube and on Instagram. And here we go on that. Now, Matt says, Matt on YouTube says the following. I feel with the amount of players we've got out right now, I wouldn't have predicted by the time that the final international break comes around, we'd be 4th, but I'm going to take it. Yep. Got to take it. It's gravy right now. No matter what happens in tomorrow's kickoffs, we will probably be going no lower than 7th at the very lowest, I think, from what I'm looking at with the table. And you can't argue with that, can you? I mean, you just can't argue with that. And it's a delight to see that Watford have already amassed 25 points on the season. 25 points on the season. That's a really, really good start. It's possible that we could be as low as 7th. Millwall have been going well. They are 7th presently. Millwall have been going extremely well. They've won 4 in a row, Millwall. So, Millwall, if Millwall win tomorrow, they'll be in that top 6 and we'll be out of it. So, that's the thing to keep in mind. Although, West Bromwich Albion might falter and Burnley might falter. So we still might be in the top 6 by the time we get to the end of tomorrow. We could go into the international break guaranteed to be in the top 6. So Watford have done everything now that you can ask of them. 8 wins. You want more than half your games? You can't ask for better than that. Pretty good. Pretty good. That's the second most wins in the championship. Not bad. And we're behind Sheffield United, Sunderland, and Leeds. Not in that order, but those three teams ahead of us are one of them was in the two of them were in the Premier League last season. One of them was in the Premier League last season. The other one was in the Premier League the season before. And Sunderland, who have been promoted for 2 straight seasons now, look pretty blooming good. Or is it maybe not 2 straight seasons, but they promoted from League One. And and look where they are, top of the tree. Sunderland have played very well this season, lost just twice. And we were one of the losses. We beat them. So we have played well against a lot of teams. Look, we've beaten the teams we have to beat for the most part. We've had some tough opposition. Leeds, we played well second half against them. We didn't play well against Sheffield United, and we beat Sunderland. And Burnley, we haven't played yet, to the best of my memory. Haven't played Burnley yet, and I don't think we've played West Brom either yet. West Brom have drawn their last 6 games in a row. So, Millwall, look, the bottom line is that we are playing well without playing well. We are doing what we can without our complement of players. Nobody has as many injuries as we do right now in the championship, and we still got to get things right with our set pieces, defending better. But the defense tonight was not an issue. I thought the defense did well for the most part. And so Watford now could go as low as 7th, but they're in 4th. Got to take that for what it is. Comments. I'm going to read them all out. Plymouth must win, says Dan Atkins. Need to improve our away form, and it starts then. That's right. That away game at Plymouth is the first one out of the gate after the international break. We had a 3-3 draw against Plymouth. Remember that? At the start of 2024. If you remember, that was last season, but it was the start of this calendar year, the first day of the year, where we had a 3-3 draw with Plymouth away from home. That is something that I think is very important. Yeah, we've got to improve our away form. Plymouth have struggled. Plymouth are in the bottom 3. Wayne Rooney's side are in the bottom 3. And so we need to take advantage of that. Plymouth won their last game, so, they've got a win, but they are in the bottom 3 at the minute. And no matter where they are after the international break, we need to get that game. We need to win that game against Plymouth. They've lost 7 already this season, only 1 more than we've lost. And their goal difference is -11. So we need to get on board and get that game in a couple of weeks' time. Wayne Rooney and company. Dan adds, something's got to be done about EFL refs. Yeah, the referees stink. This referee tonight was poor. I thought, Dan, he wanted to be the center of attention on a Friday night. No other championship match being played. Let me be the star. Let me be the star of the show. It was on national TV live, I think. And so let me be the star of the show. That was the ref tonight. And he made a real turd's ear out of a lot of these decisions he made. There should have been at least 2 reds for Oxford players. There should have been at least 2 penalties for Watford to take. And he didn't give anything. Absolutely abysmal refereeing. Might be the worst ref of the season for us. But really, that's not saying much. We've had a lot of worse referees this season and every season because the EFL does not have quality refs. End of story. There's 1 or 2 of them that are good, but not consistently good. That's just the way it is. Thank you, Dan. Lewis says it's very crazy that we're 4th. We're dreaming, ref. We're dreaming, Lewis. We're dreaming. 4th. Unbelievable stuff. At the end of the day, says Dan, I would love to get to the playoffs, but can't expect it. So proud of us. Yeah, we've got to be proud of this team, Dan. And I'm glad that you are, because we should be always, no matter where they are. We've had some frustrating times at this club for many a year, years past and years present. But this is a day and a season so far that has been a pleasantly surprising one. I thought Watford finished in the top 8, 9, or 10, those top places. That's what I predicted before the season. But to see us in 4th with a depleted squad and Festi out injured, for God's sake, I hope that Festi's all right. But to see him, to see what we've done, and there's still room for improvement. You saw that first half tonight. No one's going to remember that first half tonight. We've got Bio scoring goals now, 6 to lead all scorers in the Watford ranks in the championship. It's gravy. It's great. Bio. You got Bio scoring goals. That's terrific. That's all we asked for from him. And bottom line is, this is really good. Pride. And I'm glad that you are proud of this Watford side, because I am. They did a really good job with their effort tonight. Second half effort was what was key. I want to read out more of your comments. Considering, says Joe Larkin, we were 21st in terms of summer spending, we are doing incredibly well. Yes, we are. Thank you, Joe. Sam, hello to you. And Watford, Serbia, hello to you on Instagram. Thank you very much indeed. Your comments on YouTube as well to be read out. We've got 5 more minutes to go here on the post-match. Thank you very much indeed, everybody who's watching on YouTube. Please subscribe to the You ORNS WFC YouTube channel that you're watching. Like this live stream as well. We'd love to have you do that to support, and also, of course, the videos across the You ORNS WFC platform on YouTube, and of course follow on X at You ORNS WFC and on Instagram at You ORNS WFC. There will be a podcast episode, of course, because we're going into the international break, so there's no excuse for me not to do one, and I will get that done in short order during the course of this weekend. And the the You ORNS podcast available on Spotify and on Apple, among other podcasting platforms. So let me read out your comments on YouTube. Here they are. Mark Brisbane, jury still out on Bio. When he shoots, he's a keeper magnet. Mark Brisbane, Mark, thank you for the comment. Look, he did score tonight. Give him credit for that. Yes, I know that it hit the goalkeeper at first, but he did follow up and then smashed the ball in, and it took, I think, a deflection off somebody into the back of the net, thankfully. But the bottom line is Bio works really hard. He got the goal. That's now 5 goals in his last 3 games. That's an astonishing rate of return from a player who barely scores goals for you and has only scored, other than those 5 goals in the last 3 games, one other previous time of the season, which was a great goal that he scored against Derby. So, yeah, I understand what you're saying there, Mark, but you got to give Bio some credit tonight. He got the job done. He looked good tonight, Bio, after looking like the whole team did, very lethargic on Tuesday. But Bio got the job done. End of story. Lewis says, Tom Kleb's Yellow Army. Yellow Army. Excellent stuff there, Lewis. Really good stuff. We just got a couple more minutes on both Instagram and on YouTube for the post-match. Reading more of your comments here on YouTube, and so bear with us on Instagram. I hope you can hear as I read out these comments on YouTube. Matt says, I feel like we need more men in the box because it looks like that some of the players that want to put the ball in there are not sure if to put it in the box or to pass the ball back and lose momentum. Yeah, there is a sense of indecision. And I've said this, Matt, several times during the course of the match and during the course of this post-match as well. We need more runners in the box. We have to get more people up in the box. And I know some of it is, well, we don't want to get caught short on the counterattack. And so maybe that's why people are hanging back and not going forward. But we need to flood that box. We need to flood the box. There's only one runner, and it was Bio doing the run in the box, and no one else was up top. We need to give that defense something to think about. If we flood players forward and attack that box, we will break through their pace, we'll break through their defensive unit, and we will break up their organization. They were very organized defensively, were Oxford, especially out of possession, and you saw it. Especially in the first half, we couldn't break them down. But part of the reason why is because we only had one runner. We did not flood forward with runners at all. When we were on the front foot with the ball, we kept passing it sideways. We didn't move the ball fast enough, and we did not flood the box with at least 3 runners in the box. That would have given a lot more versatility for us, would have stretched the pitch, and would have forced that defensive block to break up. And because we didn't do that, it was very easy for Oxford to repel us a lot in that first half. We only had 1 shot on target in the first half, which is just remarkable at home. And we didn't get that shot, I think, until the 45th minute or thereabouts. We didn't do anything in that first half. But Cleverly definitely must have thrown some pots and pans about at halftime in the dressing room, because they did respond, didn't they? Yellow Army, says Lewis. And of course, he says, Bar will tear you apart again. Yes. He certainly would. Barr got the assist tonight. Very important to mention that. And Lewis has, as Barr got the assist for the all-important goal for Mr. Bio, the crow. Ow, ow, ow. I don't know if that's a crow or if it's a hen or a rooster. But the bottom line is the crow scored tonight, getting his 6th of the season. He only scored 4 championship goals all of last season. He has 6 now in the first 15 games, and really 5 of those 6 in the last 3 games. So Bio is crowing and really scoring. It's a shame that the international break has come, because now this man is scoring goals and his rhythm's going to be disrupted for 2 weeks. So, the bad thing about this international break is it's a bad time for Bio because the man is scoring goals in bunches now. And you don't want to be 2 weeks away from the pitch when you're in a rich vein of goal scoring form. So now we hope that he can carry that momentum of these last 3 games where he scored 5 of these last 3 games in these last 3 into 2 weeks from now. We hope so. Let me read the rest of your comments on YouTube. Mark Brisbane says, Bar deserved to stay on. Bio should have been subbed. That's what Mark has to say about Bio. Mark continues, Matty Pollock has been a great leader at the back, future captain for sure. 100% there on that comment, Mark. I do think that that's going to happen at some point. He got the new contract, as we know. Today it was announced, and I think he's great captain material. I'd give him the captaincy now. I know Musa Sissoko's our on-field captain, and the club captain, the official club captain, is Daniel Backman. But, maybe not this season, but next season, I think Matty Pollock should be in with a shout for captain. I really do. I think he's been exemplifying the good spirit, the good grit quality. He leads the back line well. I know it's a back 3, but there we go. Loser is better than Sissoko in midfield, says Dan Atkins. Off of one game there, Dan. Loser was brilliant tonight. He was very good tonight. But is he better than Sissoko overall? Sissoko's not had some good games this season. He's had some very good games at other times this season. Off the back of one performance, that's a rough call. I would not. For me, I beg to differ. I would not put Loser ahead of Sissoko. I think Sissoko's a better player, better midfielder. I think Sissoko does more. I think Loser's a more technical player, and for where he plays in the midfield, he takes more advanced positions, I think, at times. But he's a better technician, perhaps, than Sissoko. But Sissoko is a better box-to-box midfielder. There's no question about that. And so, that's the thing as far as I'm concerned. Let me read out more of your comments. We'll continue on with those. Matty Pollock. I read that one out. Brown Electron says Pollock and Barr have been a delightful surprise this season. They certainly have. I would put both of them in the running for player of the season alongside Georgie. I think if you're going to look at nominees for player of the season for Watford, the Graham Taylor player of the season, I know it's early. We've only played a third of the season, for heaven's sake. I get it. But I would absolutely put Pollock, Barr, and Georgie in for that running. For player of the season right now. Then they have been delightful surprises. They really have been very good there. So thanks, Brown, on YouTube for that comment. And also Matt on YouTube says, Omar, with some of the bad refs we've had so far this season, I'd love to know where or how they passed their refereeing course. Yeah, I would like to know that too, Matt. How on earth did we get such stinky refs in the championship? It's been a long time that we've had them. But it really is magnified, of course, when your club is affected by those refereeing decisions or non-decisions, as we saw tonight. And there was a lot of things that this referee let go. And then he was so ticky-tack with a lot of the yellow cards that he gave out for both teams, by the way. And there was some stuff with Oxford I don't think he should have given either. But there were some things with Oxford he should have given, like the red card that somehow went missing on 2 occasions. I don't know how he didn't give it for the stamp on Backman or for that one where he completely didn't touch the ball and he stamps on the top of the foot of one of the Watford players. Where is this referee? Didn't give the 2 penalties. Where is this referee? And that's why Tom Cleverley got the yellow card at the end of the match. Because the referee was awful tonight. He really was. Fortunately, we got the win. Not in spite of the referee, we got the win. So I am pleased about that as well. One more comment or two to be read out. Well done, Niall. Good to see you, Niall, on Instagram. Nice to see you. Hope you are enjoying the post-match. Niall, I hope you're enjoying this win that Watford had tonight going into the international break. Really well in 4th position, bouncing back from Tuesday night's disappointment. We had some real character tonight after a poor first half. Turned on the Jets after Cleverley must have shouted all kinds of obscenities at these lads at halftime, and we got the goal within 10 minutes of the restart. We love to score an early goal in the second half, don't we? And we did that again tonight. Barr was the assist to the goal from Bio, his 6th of the season, and he has scored 5 goals in the last 3 matches. Very impressive indeed. And more from the lads here on Instagram. Dan Atkins, a good side. Again, I guess it says, I can't read what you're saying there, Dan. It says a good, I don't know what those two words before were. It says a good side play, Sissoko, but against a bad team, no point. Not quite clear on your comment there, Dan, if you can explain that a bit more. Right turn, Clyde. We are playing football. Yes, we are indeed. We are playing football. And that's something that we haven't really done a lot at Vicarage Road over the past few seasons. We now have, can you think about this now? I mean, this is just remarkable that we have 6 wins at home this season in the championship. 6 wins. We had, I think, 5 all of last season, or maybe 6 all of last season. And that 6th win literally came in the last game of the season. It was, I believe it was against Stoke that we beat whomever it was. And we beat them 2-0, I think it was. That's remarkable. We are going into mid-November, because it will be late November and we will still have been undefeated at home. That is why we're doing so well in this championship. That is why, I know we've talked about being pleasantly surprised about some players and about where we are on the table. In some ways, we should not be that surprised where we are on the table, because the home form has been that good. So the bottom line is our home form is why we are in 4th. No other team, I think, is unbeaten at home. There might be one, but we are really flying. 25 points on the season already. I mean, at this pace, that would put us in the playoffs. If we keep that kind of ratio going, that would put us in the playoffs. If the season ended today, we'd be in the playoffs. Season doesn't end today, though. But we can dream. We can dream. And we still have a lot of players to come back with, and the January transfer window, should we care to take advantage of it. So here is what Dan Atkins is saying. Against a good team, play Sissoko, but against a bad team, Loser is better at breaking them down. Dan, a good point. I understand what you're saying. Loser was very good tonight. I think it's the best game he's had in a long time for us. There are times where he completely disappears off the pitch. And I think his technical ability is why you'd put him on the pitch. Sissoko just really, I mean, I know he's had some bad games, but Sissoko does really get you up and down the field a bit better. He's able to thread the balls through a little bit better. He's able to take on the midfield role and bring it to good connection with the forward players. He can run deep into the box. He can run and roam. He can get the ball high up the pitch a lot better, I think. But yeah, I understand what you're saying there, Dan. All the same, we got the win tonight, and that's really, at the end of the day, what we are pleased about. And finally, comments from Brown Electrons. We will end with his comment tonight. We're going to go undefeated at home for the whole season. Tom Cleverley's Yellow Army, says Brown on YouTube. And that is the You Orns comment of the night. Brown Electrons, with the immense confidence that he's showing. He says, we're going to go undefeated at home for the whole season. Tom Cleverley's Yellow Army, says Brown. And you know what? I'll have to bottle that comment, because you could be right. We will see if they do go undefeated the whole season. I'll tell you what, Brown, if we do go undefeated the whole season at the Vic, we will be in the playoffs. 100% guarantee that for you as well. Thank you, Brown. You are the last word on the comments here on YouTube and on Instagram. Thank you very much indeed, everybody, for joining us here. It is 11:30 at night in the United Kingdom, and it's a lot later than that on Saturday in Australia. Pardon me, in Australia. It's great to see you all. Joe Larkin says, cheers, Omar. Have a good one. You too, Joe. Great to see you on Instagram. After Watford won, Oxford 0 was the final score at the Vic tonight. Friday night, under the lights at Vicarage Road. Don't forget, once again, join me on X at You Orns WFC. Follow along there. And, of course, on Instagram at You Orns WFC. Subscribe to the You Orns WFC YouTube channel. It is absolutely brilliant to have you all here on a Friday night late like this. Brown says, all the best, Omar. You Orns. And Matt says, we are strong, and we are the mighty, mighty Watford. All right, then, everybody. That's it for now. Omar here saying thank you very much. Enjoy your weekend and your international break. And, of course, listen out for the podcast. It is coming the next day or two. But until 2 weeks from now, enjoy the international break. Take care. Be well. Be safe. Omar here saying, you ORNS. Take care. Be well. And enjoy your international break. You ORNS.